If you read the loan agreement, it says they can take action against you, including seizing assets, including civil procedures, and all kinds of really bad consequences.
So dumb. Some of the stupid they say is just...
Did I put anything in your Freskinate?
I wish you did.
Going back to SBA's internal procedures, basically, SBA has a procedure for pretty much everything. But very interesting, so we have a client just hired us because he's selling his business to someone else, and he wants that person to assume and take over his COVID-19 EIDL, and SBA allows that. Can we put up SBA graphic number 1, please?
Number 1.
Paperwork. So the client hired us to manage this process. This is what's called an application for assumption, where you have to submit this to the SBA, and there's a whole internal process where they have to determine if they will approve the person buying your business to assume the SBA loan. Now, if we go to graphic number 2.
Yes.
Very important disclosure on this form.
Yes.
And this is one of those moments where SBA isn't the best communicator as far as federal agencies go. This is a good example of that because, yes, the disclosure is on the form. This is on line 7 on the form. Monetary consideration may be required to approve this application. You would think there'd be an asterisk there with maybe on the back of the form explaining what this sentence means. Because this is a really, really big deal. And we had something like this happen to a client recently, where that client hired us to manage the sale of a portion of the business assets. The business assets, in this case, were intangible assets. And he wanted permission from the SBA to sell that portion of assets. And we submitted the paperwork, and this sentence, monetary consideration may be required, didn't even appear in this way. It was like buried in the disclosures. But I knew about this because I had already called SBA and done my homework. And what this means is that SBA is changing the ground rules on you. It means that if you and the SBA go through this whole process of requesting permission to sell some of your assets or to have someone assume the loan, take over the loan, or some other procedure, the SBA might come to you and say, okay, yes, she's approved to take over the assumption, but we're going to require you to pay off the whole loan.
Yeah.
Wait, she's approved to assume, but I have to pay off the whole loan? Then she can't assume a loan that you require me to pay off. This is what happened with the collateral sale. They came back and they said, he has permission to sell the assets, but out of the proceeds of the sale, he has to pay off the entire loan.
The entire loan, not even a proportion.
And this procedure could go on for, 6, 8, 10 weeks, depending on how organized you are.